Nobody expected this. A man who forgave his wife 24 hours earlier is already accusing her of betrayal again. And this time, it's not about an affair, a lie, or a business deal. It's about something she genuinely cannot see coming. Because Nikki Newman is losing her sight, and somehow that's still not enough to stop Victor Newman from turning his rage on the one person standing beside him. If that sounds insane, buckle up, because Genoa City is about to get a whole lot messier before the week is through. I'm Anderson, and this is Soap Pulse. If you love digging into the twists nobody saw coming, hit subscribe, because we're just getting started. Let's set the stage, because if you haven't been following along, the sheer number of collisions happening in this town right now is almost hard to track. At the center of it all, as usual, sits Victor Newman, the patriarch, the mogul, the man who treats forgiveness like a business transaction he can revoke at will. Beside him, or trying to be, is Nikki, his wife, now navigating life with vision loss that's left her vulnerable in ways she's never had to face before. And circling both of them is a small army of Newmans, exes, rivals, and wildcards: Adam, Nick, Victoria, Kyle, Sally, Chelsea, Jack, Diane, all of them tangled in overlapping storylines that are about to converge in ways that even longtime viewers might not see coming. Here's where it gets interesting, though, because according to the latest reporting on the show's trajectory, the drama doesn't start with Victor and Nikki. It starts with Jack Abbott. Just when it looked like the ice between Victor and Nikki had finally started to thaw, and trust us, it had only just thawed, Jack manages to drive a wedge right back between them. Now, we don't yet know exactly what Jack says or does, but knowing the history between these two men, and knowing Victor's hair-triggered temper when it comes to anyone he sees as interference, it's not hard to imagine the fallout. The bigger question fans are already asking is this: why does it always take so little to reignite a fight between two people who supposedly just made peace? Is this a pattern in their marriage, or is there something deeper simmering underneath that keeps resurfacing no matter how many times they try to move past it? That's a thread we're going to pull on throughout this whole story, because the answer might not be what you expect. While all of that plays out, Adam Newman is doing something that might actually surprise people who think they've got him figured out. He's making a promise to Sally Spectra, a vow, according to reports, to protect her from his own father. Now, if you know anything about the Newman family, you know that promises like this rarely stay simple. Adam has spent years positioning himself as the family's most unpredictable variable, someone who can pivot from villain to protector depending on the week, depending on the angle, depending on what he stands to gain. So when he tells Sally he's going to shield her from Victor, the question isn't whether he means it in the moment, it's whether he can actually follow through and what it costs him if he does. Because standing up to Victor Newman has never been a small thing. It's never been something you walk away from clean. And speaking of people who don't walk away clean, Nick Newman is finally, after what feels like an eternity, deciding to hold Matt Clark accountable. If you've been watching, you know Matt has been positioning himself as a changed man, someone trying to prove he's left his troubled past behind. But cracks have been showing, and apparently Nick has seen enough. The frustrating part, at least according to fans reacting to the story, is the timing. Nick had chances to confront this months ago, so why now? What changed? What did Nick see or hear or finally stop ignoring that pushed him to act? We don't have the full answer yet, but the show is clearly building toward a reckoning, and reckonings on this show are never quiet. Now here's a twist that longtime viewers are going to feel in their chest. Courtney Hope is reportedly reprising a fan favorite role. For those unfamiliar, the return of a beloved actress to a character audiences have missed is the kind of announcement that sends ripples through the entire fan base instantly. It's not just casting news, it's a signal that something bigger is coming, that the show is setting up a storyline substantial enough to justify bringing someone back. The question is, who this return destabilizes. Every returning character shifts the board. Relationships that felt settled suddenly aren't. Alliances get tested, and knowing this show's history, someone's world is about to get turned upside down because of it. By Tuesday, the emotional temperature rises even further. Diane Jenkins is stepping into caretaker mode, helping Jack recover, presumably from whatever fallout comes from his confrontation with Victor, or perhaps from injuries tied to earlier chaos in his life. Diane and Jack's relationship has always been one of the show's most complicated love stories, a redemption arc that keeps testing the limits of what forgiveness actually means. Watching her nurse him back to health isn't just a tender moment, it's a reminder of how far these two have traveled together and how much has been buried, forgiven, or simply left unspoken between them. But the real gut punch of Tuesday might be what's brewing between Kyle Abbott and Victoria Newman. According to spoilers, the two of them trade secrets, a moment reportedly pushing them one step closer to a coupling that fans are already calling controversial before it's even confirmed. Think about that for a second. Kyle and Victoria, two people with complicated histories, entangled families, and enough baggage between them to fill a corporate merger. If this pairing is really where the story is headed, it changes everything, not just for them, but for everyone connected to them. Summer. Nick. The entire Newman-Abbott power dynamic that's defined this show for decades. When two people from rival dynasties start trusting each other with secrets, it's never just personal, it's political, it's dangerous, and it's the kind of storyline that could reshape alliances for years to come. Meanwhile, Tracy Abbott is taking a real risk, stepping directly into the orbit of Martin Laurent, a man reportedly described as nefarious, in order to protect her family. We don't know yet exactly what that risk involves, but Tracy has never been the reckless type. She's the steady one, the voice of reason in a family full of impulsive decision-makers. So if Tracy is willing to take a gamble here, it tells you just how serious the threat really is. What does she know about Martin Laurent that the rest of the family doesn't? And is she prepared for what happens if this risk doesn't pay off? Then comes Wednesday, and this is where the emotional stakes hit their peak. Victor makes a promise to Nikki, right as she receives devastating news about her health. We already know Nikki has been struggling with vision loss, but this development suggests things may be getting worse, or at least more complicated than anyone anticipated. And here's where the contradiction becomes almost impossible to ignore. Just days after Victor accuses his blind wife of betrayal, an accusation that, on its face, seems almost cruel given her circumstances, he's now making her a vow at what might be one of the most vulnerable moments of her life. Which Victor are we supposed to believe? The one lashing out over imagined slights, or the one standing by her side when the news gets bad? Longtime fans of this show know the answer is usually both, simultaneously, because that contradiction has always been the engine driving Victor and Nikki's marriage. But this time, with her health entering the equation, the stakes feel different, heavier. Less like typical soap opera friction and more like something that could genuinely reshape their relationship going forward. At the same time, Phyllis Summers is keeping a close eye on Matt Clark. And honestly, fans reacting to this development have raised a fair point. Shouldn't everyone be watching Matt Clark right now? The Genoa City Police Department, Victor's private security, basically anyone within 100 feet of this man. If Matt truly has a troubled past resurfacing, and if Nick is finally moving to hold him accountable, then Phyllis inserting herself into the surveillance isn't just nosy behavior. It might be the only thing standing between this situation and a full-blown disaster. Phyllis has never been subtle, but she's rarely wrong when her instincts kick in like this. So what does she know? What has she seen that's pushing her to act? By Thursday, the tension boils over into confession territory. Nick makes an admission to Sharon Newman, one that reportedly leaves her more worried than she's been in a long time. Given everything building around Matt Clark, and given Nick's own history with sobriety struggles that Nikki has apparently been quietly fretting over throughout the week, it's not a stretch to wonder whether these two threads are connected. Is Nick's confession about Matt, about his own struggles, about something else entirely that's been simmering beneath the surface? Sharon's reaction tells us this isn't a minor confession. This is something that shifts the ground beneath both of them. Elsewhere, Audra Charles and Sally Spectra are exploring their options, though reports suggest those options are limited, likely tied to the ongoing battle over Spectra Charles, the design house that's become a battleground between Sally's ambitions and Victor's relentless corporate pressure. If Victor really is playing hardball with a company this size, the kind of mismatch fans have compared to a giant going after something far smaller and more fragile, then Audra and Sally may be running out of room to maneuver. Desperation breeds alliances nobody expects, and this might be exactly where the story is headed. Which brings us to Chelsea and Adam, who make what's being described as a power move specifically designed to impress Victor. Now, this is fascinating because just days earlier, Adam vowed to protect Sally from his own father. So what happens when protecting Sally and impressing Victor start pulling in opposite directions? Is Adam playing both sides? Is this power move somehow connected to shielding Sally, or does it put her directly in the crossfire? Adam has built an entire identity around being unpredictable, around keeping everyone guessing whether he's the hero or the villain of his own story. This move might be the moment we finally get an answer, or it might just deepen the mystery further. Finally, Friday arrives, and with it, a cascade of revelations that promise to ripple into the following week. Billy Abbott and Sally Spectra discover that Jill Abbott is keeping a secret, a classic Jill Abbott move if we're being honest, but one that could destabilize whatever fragile trust currently exists within the Abbott family business dealings. What is Jill hiding, and who does it protect, or who does it threaten? Then there's Kane Ashby, reportedly striking a hard bargain despite his supposed reform. It's a small but pointed detail, a reminder that even characters who've been rehabilitated on this show never fully lose their edge. Old instincts die hard in Genoa City, and Kane's willingness to negotiate ruthlessly, even now, raises questions about how much has really changed in him at all. And then, in what might be the most unexpected pairing of the entire week, Devon Hamilton finds common ground with Ashley Abbott. Of all the people Devon could turn to, Ashley is not the name most fans would have guessed. Devon has been on a rough stretch lately, enough that even his own family, Lily and Nate, have expressed concern about where his head is at. So what does it mean that he's confiding in Ashley specifically? What does she offer him that the people closest to him can't? This is the kind of unlikely connection that this show excels at building, two characters from completely different corners of Genoa City finding something in common precisely when neither of them expects to. Underneath all of this, there's a smaller but pointed moment worth mentioning. Billy calling out both his own sins and Kyle's, reportedly delivering a sharp assessment of Victor and the loyalty Victor still commands from certain family members despite everything. It's the kind of moment that doesn't move the plot forward directly, but it says something true about how these characters see each other and maybe how the show wants us to see Victor too. A man who inspires fierce loyalty even from people who know exactly how dangerous he can be. Isn't that the real through line of this entire story? Victor Newman doesn't just control businesses and fortunes, he controls people's loyalty, their fear, their forgiveness, sometimes all three at once. Nikki forgives him, Adam defies him while still seeking his approval. Even Kyle, an Abbott through and through, apparently has something to say about Victor's hold over the people around him. Now, if we rewind slightly to the week before this one, the picture becomes even clearer because the chaos didn't start here. It's been building for a while. Kyle was reportedly plotting against Victor even then, while Abby's marriage was already showing cracks. Diane, fresh off her own stabbing, an event serious enough to be mentioned in passing but heavy enough to reshape everything around it, was sitting at Jack's bedside as he recovered from his own ordeal. Billy and Kyle were already commiserating over shared misery, a bond of mutual frustration that seems to have carried straight into the following week's confrontations. There was also the return of a legacy character that had fans buzzing, along with a genuinely somber note, the real-life passing of a beloved actor connected to this show's history, a reminder that even amid all the fictional drama, this show carries decades of real relationships and real loss behind the scenes. Tuesday of that earlier week saw Kyle escalate things further, actually threatening Victor outright, while Sally spiraled into panic, presumably tied to the pressure closing in around Spectra Charles. There was a jaw-dropping twist involving Patty Williams, a character with a long and complicated history on this show, reportedly set for release under circumstances significant enough that the show is clearly building toward a major reveal, and Sally, in the middle of her panic, accused Adam and Chelsea of deliberately sabotaging her company, an accusation that, given what we now know about Adam vowing to protect her just days later, adds another layer of complexity to their entire dynamic. Were Adam and Chelsea really working against her? Or is there more to that story than a simple accusation reveals? By Wednesday, Victor was already losing his composure with his family, and in one of the most striking beats of the earlier week, he accused Nikki of betrayal despite her vision loss, the very same accusation pattern that would resurface again just a week later. That's not a coincidence. That's a man circling the same wound over and over, unable or unwilling to actually confront what's really bothering him. Meanwhile, Jack and Diane were finding their way back to each other, following what the show describes as a shared ordeal involving kidnappings on both sides, a reminder of just how much trauma these two have survived together and how it keeps drawing them back into each other's orbit, no matter how many times life tries to tear them apart. Kyle, in the middle of all this, attempted to bargain with Patty, hinting that her return isn't just incidental to the plot, it's central to something Kyle needs, wants, or fears. Thursday of that week brought Victor's hardball tactics against Spectra Charles into full view, alongside a scandal already reportedly in motion, one significant enough that the show is teasing its consequences will stretch on for a while. Victoria and Claire, meanwhile, were honoring the memory of Cole, a quieter, more emotional beat amid all the corporate warfare and family conflict. And even then, Nikki was already worried about Nick's sobriety, a concern that would resurface again the following week when Nick's confession left Sharon shaken. That's not a one-off mention, that's a slow-building storyline the show has clearly been threading through multiple episodes, and it suggests Nick's struggles are heading toward a breaking point sooner rather than later. By Friday of that earlier week, Matt Clark declared he was leaving Genoa City altogether, and yet somehow he's still here, still under Phyllis's watchful eye, still apparently connected to whatever Nick is now confessing to Sharon. Why didn't he leave? What changed his plans? And Victor and Nikki, in a moment fans reacted to with equal parts hope and cynicism, agreed to start fresh. A reconciliation that, as we now know, lasted barely any time at all before Jack drove them apart again. It really does prove the point fans have been making. Doing the same thing repeatedly and expecting a different outcome might be the most accurate description of Victor and Nikki's marriage that anyone's ever put into words. There was also a twist involving Victor targeting someone unexpected, with reports suggesting the interference could upend not one, but two relationships simultaneously. And Lily and Nate's concern for Devon, which we now know carries forward into his surprising bond with Ashley the following week, suggesting his emotional unraveling has been building for longer than casual viewers might have realized. Finally, Matt Clark's carefully maintained image as a changed man took a hit when he reportedly caused problems for Noah and Sienna, a crack in his reformed persona that, combined with Nick's later decision to finally hold him accountable, paints a picture of a storyline that's been quietly escalating for weeks, waiting for the right moment to explode. So where does all of this leave us? When you step back and look at the full picture, what you see isn't just a series of disconnected plot points, it's a web. Victor's temper connects to Nikki's health crisis, which connects to the fragile peace between them that Jack keeps disrupting. Adam's protective vow to Sally connects to the corporate war against Spectra Charles, which connects to Chelsea and Adam's power move to impress Victor, which raises the uncomfortable question of whether Adam's loyalties are as clear as he claims. Nick's reckoning with Matt Clark connects to Phyllis's surveillance, which connects to Sharon's growing worry, which connects back to Nikki's own concerns about Nick's sobriety. Even Devon's quiet unraveling, largely overlooked amid the louder storylines, threads directly into his unexpected bond with Ashley, suggesting that some of this show's most interesting moments are happening in the margins, not the headlines. And that, more than any single twist, is what makes this stretch of episodes so compelling to watch unfold. It's not just about who's cheating on whom or who's scheming against whom, though there's plenty of that too. It's about a family, several families really, so deeply entangled in each other's lives that no single conflict ever stays contained. A promise Adam makes to Sally ripples outward into a power move meant to please Victor. A confession Nick makes to Sharon connects backward to concerns Nikki voiced days earlier. A returning character destabilizes relationships nobody even connected to her yet. This is the kind of storytelling that rewards patience, that rewards paying attention to the small details buried inside throwaway lines, because on this show, nothing ever really stays a throwaway line for long. The biggest unanswered question hanging over everything, though, might be the simplest one. Why does Victor Newman keep circling back to the same accusation against the one person who has stood by him through everything? Every time peace seems within reach, someone pulls it apart again, and more often than not, it's Victor himself who lights the match, even when he's the one who claims to want the peace most. Is it fear? Is it a lifetime of trust issues he's never actually worked through? Or is there something else entirely driving this pattern, something the show hasn't fully revealed yet? Nikki's health crisis raises the stakes in a way that makes this question impossible to ignore any longer, because if Victor can't break this cycle now, while his wife is facing something this serious, when exactly will he? That's the story unfolding in Genoa City right now, a web of promises, betrayals, confessions, and unexpected alliances, all circling back to the same central truth this show has explored for decades. In this family, love and damage have never been separate things. They've always been the same thing, wearing different masks depending on the day. And as these storylines barrel toward whatever comes next, one thing feels certain: nobody in this town is walking away from July unscathed. If this breakdown helped you keep track of everything happening in Genoa City, let us know in the comments which storyline has you the most hooked, and stick around, because Soap Pulse will be back the moment new spoilers drop. I'm Anderson. Thanks for watching.